Let me tell you a little bit about how this happened. Ela Gandhi, I was notified, would be speaking at FAU, and I found out through some grave oversight by her scheduler, she did not plan on stopping at Le Dorvador. And I realized that something must be done to correct the situation, so I called up, and after about 8 calls, I finally found out how to contact the person who's handling her travels. Contacted him by email. We had a very nice exchange back and forth about her coming here and working out the logistics. And yesterday, at about 9 in the morning, I got confirmation that she would be here for the first time. So at 9 o'clock yesterday, I sent the word out to some people. Guess what?
We're here.
Ela Gandhi is going to be at Le Dorvador tomorrow. And they go, what? The first reaction was, what? How is that possible? And the second one was, why didn't you tell me sooner? So I just found out. Now, would you like to do One Day right now? Could you do that?
Sure, I'll be happy to.
This song is incredible. If you go on the internet and you plug in One Day Matisse Yahoo, you will see in Israel 3,000 people singing One Day There Will Be No More War, and they'll be singing in different languages. This is incredible. And Andy is able to sing it for us. One Day.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it will all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and the children will play. One day,
One day,
one day,
one day,
one day, one day, one day, one day.
That's a beautiful. My friends, this is Ela Gandhi, and I can't thank her enough for stopping by our little corner here at Le Dorvador. She speaks all over the world, and we are very fortunate to have her here at Le Dorvador. Now, you might have heard a song called One Tin Soldier, and it's a very violent, horribly ending song. But now, this song is a joyous song. And this is written in honor of Ela Gandhi, and for coming to visit with us. Listen, children, to a story that took place not long ago, of a man whose name was Gandhi, who did not like the status quo. He struggled bravely to make changes, but refused to take up arms. He used courage and nonviolence and stayed away from all that harms. Go ahead and love your neighbor. From a stranger, make a friend. Make it your life's labor to see the day when war shall end. Then you'll hear the trumpets blaring with the dawn of a new day. A world of peace and sharing. Join with Ela and find the way. Join with me, you have it in your program. Next verse. The people went where he did lead them. They learned Gandhi's peaceful ways. He led India to freedom and practiced peace for all his days. Years later, Gandhi is still beloved, and Ela shares his legacy. They are bathed in grace and covered as they inspire you and me. Go ahead and love your stranger. From a stranger make a friend. Make it your life's labor to see the day when war shall end. Then you'll hear the trumpets blaring with the dawn of a new day, a world of peace and sharing. Join with Ela and find a way. By the way, covet, I mentioned covet in here, beloved, it means honor in Hebrew. It's from the word kavod. One more verse. Yay. We thank Ela for her visit to the folks at Lador Vador. Her timeless message is exquisite and resonates forevermore. She's a champion for the planet and of creatures great and small. When we hear her loving voice, Mahatma's love we do recall. Go ahead and love your neighbor. From a stranger make a friend. Make it your life's labor to see the day when war shall end. Then you'll hear the trumpets blaring with the dawn of a new day, a world of peace and sharing. Join with Ela and find the way. Hey, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate Doug and Arnie playing. We just rehearsed it for 5 minutes before. As you notice, I couldn't find the right key. I was very low and my voice was a little too low, but we have someone here who found the key. She has found the right key, the key for peace. She's found the key to freedom and the key to nonviolence. So it's my great pleasure, without belaboring the introduction, to share with you the presence of someone who has brought peace literally throughout the world, someone who has captured a person who was the role model for peace and nonviolence throughout the world and has allowed that message to come through loud and clear. And I'll just share this also. In Judaism, we believe that when people pass on, they leave a GPS. It's a guiding parental spirit, or it's a grandparent spirit. It's a voice that gives you direction, a voice that tells you how to find your destination, a voice that helps you when you're lost to get where you're trying to go. So Ela reflects like a GPS, her grandparent's spirit, and she now gives us direction. All we have to do is just tune out some of all the clamor outside and let her voice come through, and let the voice of her grandfather, let the voice of the beauties of Hinduism come through. Just tune it out and hear that voice, and it will get us to the right direction. She's right here now to share with us that direction. Ela Gandhi. Would you like to stand or sit? Here we go. It's all yours.
Thank you. It's indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be here with all of you. I think today when we look at the world around us and we hear the voice of the young Swedish girl who is calling for environmental justice for the future generations, that is what she said, what is going to happen to me, my children and my grandchildren. And so it makes us think, what have we been doing over the past hundreds of years? And when we look at what Gandhiji said, and it's the 150th birth anniversary this year of both Mahatma Gandhi and his wife Kasturba Gandhi. And both of them left us a message, a very powerful message. One that talks about conservation. And conservation is the most important aspect of what they said. When we talk about conservation, it means conserving everything, conserving energy, conserving life, conserving resources, conserving the world. And so when we look at our lives, we begin to think that how are we actually conserving, or are we wasting? Are we consuming more than we are conserving? Are we accumulating and not conserving? And so when we look at the environment, this is the thought that should come. This is what Gandhiji said. The thought of how do we conserve. Now why I say this is Gandhiji came to South Africa in 1893, and he made a number of friends in South Africa. And from the different friends, he learnt about different religions, he learnt about different ways of lives, what our scriptures say, what the philosophies of the world's philosophers say, like Tolstoy and Ruskin and Thoreau, and all these philosophers, what they were talking about. Because each one of them was talking about conserving and about the fact that we are part of the universe. We are not separate from the universe. Gandhiji said we should learn to live as a part of nature, not apart from nature. And so if we begin to look at ourselves as being part of nature, then the idea of how do we look after our universe, how do we take care of it, comes into mind. And this is what Gandhiji recognized. So initially he had all the, shall I say, vices, or shall I say, desires that all of us have, to accumulate stuff, to pander to fashions. He loved his clothes, fashionable clothes and things like that. He loved to live, beautiful life. But he gave all that up in South Africa in 1904, when he decided to give up the house in the center of the city and go and live on a farm, which was called the Phoenix Settlement. And with him, he took a whole lot of his friends, amongst whom was Mr. Callenbeck. And I'm particularly referring to Mr. Callenbeck because he was from a Jewish background. And I think, I'm not quite sure of the history, but I think that was about the time in 1904 that people were beginning to look at kibbutz as a system for living. And this is what Gandhiji was inspired by as well. He called it a settlement, not an ashram, or, because usually an ashram or a monastic, space is linked to a particular religion. He didn't attract people because of a particular religion. It was because of the need to live close to nature, to begin to look at how we can make things with our own hands and be able to become self-sufficient. And Mr. Callenbeck, Gandhiji learned how to make shoes and, leather work and carpentry and all these things that you can do with your own hands. So looking at skills our own skills, because we have it within us. We just have to bring it out. These thoughts are within us. We just have to learn to bring them out. The feelings, the spirit is within us. How do we bring that spirit out? And this is what happened at Phoenix Settlement. They all used to sit together. They prayed in all the different religious groups. Every morning and evening the prayers were of each of the different religions. And they all prayed together. It was a universal coming together and finding the best in each one. Each of the spiritual learning. Find the best in each one and gather it together. And so this was the, I don't want to call it brotherhood or sisterhood, humanhood perhaps, new word, but coming together of people and how we can live with each other and how we can live with nature as well. So there he wrote about it in his book that, he began to look at how they could conserve, how they could, deal with issues of waste management, of water conservation and taking care of water, of how to grow vegetables and survive on it. And so all these things were learnt at Phoenix Settlement. And he began to look at ways of dealing with all these things. Now, often we see that people living in conditions where they don't have someone to clean up behind them, or they don't have a piped water, they don't know what to do. All of us. We have a tap, and when we open it and if no water comes out, we have no idea what to do. But at Phoenix, they conserved, they harvested rainwater. They found that there was a lot of groundwater, and so they dug a borehole and had that water as well, that water resource. They also carried water. They took care of the river. There was a little stream and took care of it so that you could get clean water from there as well. So these are little ways in which we can begin to look at how nature can be conserved and not be so tied up with the cities and with the way in which we collect things and we also damage things, damage nature. And so what I'm saying is that the wisdom that was there many years ago, and it wasn't only Gandhiji, it was a whole lot of people who brought that wisdom to the table. That was one of the reasons for thinking about the kibbutz system. Now that wisdom, we are losing it in a big way. We are not going back to that wisdom. We are looking at the big cities. We are looking at, we call it development. In the name of development, we continue to harm our nature.
Hinduism and Judaism. I want to share some things with everyone that you might not know. In almost every country where there's a sizable Jewish population, there has been anti-Semitism. Yes, even in the United States. Believe it or not, there was anti-Semitism. My dad used to tell me that he couldn't live in certain areas or work in certain places. There's only one country with a sizable population where that did not happen. That's India. India is the only place where Jews have not experienced on that continent anti-Semitism. Let me share a few other things with you. Mahatma was not his given name. Mahatma comes from Sanskrit words which means great soul. Atman is a soul, and Maha is the word major, it means a great soul. And so his name means great soul. Now, Atma, meaning soul, is related to alma, which is soul in Spanish. And both of these words are connected. And in Hebrew, we believe in something called the nefesh or neshama, which is also related to the word for breathing. They're very, very similar. Judaism also is connected with Hinduism because Judaism is the oldest of the Western religions on the Western world, and Hinduism is the oldest. The Eastern traditions, Buddhism flowed out of that as Christianity and Islam flowed out of Hebrew. Now, Mahatma Gandhi practiced something called ahimsa. Ahimsa means nonviolence. Now, here's something very interesting. The word for violence in Sanskrit is the opposite, like atypical, not typical. Ahimsa. Himsa is violence. And in Hebrew, himsa is also, excuse me, Baldat Maharaj is on his way. Himsa means violence in Hindu, and Hamas, which is the same letters, means violence in Hebrew. And ahimsa means nonviolence. Now, in Hebrew, Hamas means violence. It's also the name of a terrorist group, Hamas, which is very violent. Hamas also means never in Spanish, so we should never countenance violence. I just want to say that the Jews and the Hindus have so much in common. My father called us Hinjus. He said that we're like brothers and sisters together. Now, I do want to...
I always wondered, what was it that caused them to have the kind of similarities that they were? As you know, Dr. King was very inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. And I think it had to do with their dreams about what could happen in the future. I always wondered, what caused these two people of nonviolence, the leaders, to be violently assassinated? I always wondered that. It just didn't seem right, and I always asked God, what about that? And I think it had to do with their dreams. I don't know if J. Edgar Hoover had anything to do with Martin Luther King's death. And I don't know what faction that Hindu man who shot Mahatma Gandhi on March 30th, 1948. I don't know who did what, but there's one thing I do know. And that is that there's lessons to be drawn in everything. Everything. And the lesson for me is that you can kill the dreamer, but you can never kill the dream. And you honor us by being here to celebrate the birthday of such a man who saved us in every way you can be saved from chaos. You remember the movie when the British said, "Do you want us just to walk out?" And he said, "Yes." Remember? I want to present something to you from this august group of people and share with you something very important to all of us. I'm so sorry that I can't stay. I hope you forgive me. But wherever it is, could somebody just bring it up here and then we'll go back to, we've all signed it. There is one picture only that was taken, only one, of Martin Luther King Jr. with the picture of his mentor, Mahatma Gandhi. Do you know of it? You do know of it. Where is it? There's no, can I just have it? There's no way we could thank you enough, but as a small token of our gratitude for Christians as well as for people who are of other faiths, Hindus, Muslims, we would like you to take this with you. You're all going to sign it. So some people haven't yet to do that. Some of us have signed it already. And wow, look at the artwork on that. Wow. Anyway, can I read this to you real quickly?
Sure.
And just as a statement of gratitude. There he is. The ultimate weakness of violence is that it is a descending spiral, begetting the very thing it seeks to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it. Through violence, you murder the hater, but you do not murder hate. In fact, violence merely increases hate. Returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Martin Luther King Jr.
Thank you so much. Good photo op, folks. Take your pictures.
Oh wait, I want Rabbi Barry in the picture. He really worked to get you here.
I did. Pandit Balnath Maharaj.
Namaste. Shubh Prabhat. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Pleasant good morning to all. And I will speak a few words in Hindi on behalf, for the sake of our guests of honor, श्रीमती अल्लाह गांधी जी। इस पंच की तरफ से यहाँ आना मैं आप हार्दिक शुभ स्वागत करता हूँ और धन्यवाद भी करता हूँ कि आप समय चुन करके हम लोग के बीच बात करने के लिए पधारा, इसलिए मैं आपको नमस्कार करता हूँ। What I have said to her is extend on behalf of us all a very warm and cordial welcome to this forum that is being hosted by Lavo Davo and my very illustrious and glorious friend Rabbi Mahari Silva. Give him a round of applause. Before I will share my thought on the hypothesis this morning, allow me to ask the blessings of the Lord, with the hope that He may allow me the opportunity to fulfill the cause for which I am standing in your company. This aspect of the Lord is known as Ganesh Baba. He is crowned with the handsome nose of an elephant. In that form, he is described as the Lord of beginning, fulfillment, and accomplishment. He is also said to be the embodiment of auspiciousness and the destroyer of all inconsistencies. If one were to win his favor, his attention, and his blessings. So this morning, as I'm about to speak to you in the company of our guest of honor, please join in with me in this prayer as we ask the Lord's blessing. Hari Om Kharavanga Stulatano Gajindra Varanam Lambodharam Shundaram Pasyandam Madhugandhalo Dhamadupam Vyalo Lagandastalam Dantaghata Vitarthara Rudire Sindhura Shobhakaram Vande Shaila Shuta Sutam Ganapatim Siddhi Pradam Kamadam Om Hringam Ganapatai Namaha. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Caribbean Hindu community in the state of Florida, it is imperative that I spoke on their behalf with respect to the environment and the Hindu view of the importance of the environment in our diaspora, in our community, in our planet, and in our lives. It is very, very important. One of the many things many leaders before us have said to be mindful of. That mindfulness and mindful of is very elusive and elastic. It incorporates everything. And it means that anything that we choose to do, we must be mindful of our environment and the other species that share this planet that we are all part and parcel of. If we fail to pay attention, then we will never get out of the situation that we are sinking in deeper and deeper and deeper. It is very, very important, my dear people. If you were to reflect your attention a little bit on the portraits and the physical depiction of the Hindu gods, you will probably observe that they are associated with trees, with plants, with animals. Even though they might be nature-born enemies of each other, yet still they are able to live in harmony in the company of each other. And the reason for that is mindfulness. I don't have to like you to acknowledge and accept you for who you are. It is wrong for us to accept people because of whom we want them to be. It is very, very important for us to be aware that we are the most important and intelligent species of life on planet Earth. And if we were to relinquish that idea and be not mindful of the lesser intelligent that are around us and part of our environment, then we are the criminals. It is said by the grandfather of our guest of honor. Very simply it is said that when good people sit by and watch wrong things happen and do nothing about it, then they are the criminals. Thank you.